Yay! Are we live? See how bright it is?
It's really bright.
Yeah. Look who my guest is today.
I haven't seen it yet.
It keeps going red at the top. So, how's our mic?
We're good.
The thing's not moving green? Okay, it's working. Hi, everybody. I brought Sean with me today. We got a lot of positive feedback about our last live stream. We tried to make it look nicer this time, and it looks so half-assed right now.
We're using it again tomorrow for another photo or an unboxing.
Yeah. So everyone can see the video. I just see Ollie saying pick is there. I want to make sure it's all working. Okay, yeah, so I don't know. I got a new desk, and it's an L shape, and our backdrop doesn't really fit properly with an L shape. But now that we have this up, like, it's really see-through.
I'll redo it for next time.
Yeah, next time. We might be able to do it from my phone or something next time. On the YouTube end, things are, like, really convoluted because they recently, like, relaunched their studio. And so the, see, I told you, no lights. No, I don't want it. Yeah, anyway, that does not help my ADV, my train of thought. Yeah, anyway, it's all convoluted and everything. Hi, Christian. Hello, Ollie. Hi, Brandy and Sarah and Daisy and Magic Mermaid.
Nice.
Christian is a big fan of ours. He posts on all of our stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so let's chat about some stuff. I'm dealing with an endometriosis flare at the moment. So I've got like an ice pack on my belly right now. So I'm like holding like this. I'm like holding that on me to keep it. I got the pink hair, which we saw in the last video. And this weekend on Friday, I'm going to get it touched up again. And then we were hoping that this live stream would line up with my new Mertailor Tales arriving, but they got delayed because of the weather, so they'll be here tomorrow. So I'm going to live stream the unboxing on Facebook, but we were hoping that we would do it here. Christian says, you got a cool shirt there. Yeah, that's Sean and me, and those are available on our Teespring store and on my Art of Wear store. So, the links are in the description, probably, or they will be in the end.
That's
Thank
me.
you. Let's see, what's everybody saying here? Do we know what is so historical about tonight?
I don't know.
No, what is so historical about tonight? Tell us. You tell us that, and we'll tell you mermaid stories. So you guys saw some of the pictures. Somebody mentioned about my sister. Yeah, that was really fun. Except Uncle Shawnee got stuck carrying the niece.
Oh, she's adorable. I love her so much.
It was so hilarious.
She's so cute.
The video didn't perfectly capture it. Like, I wish you could have seen the leech because it was terrifying.
Yeah, I couldn't get a good shot of the leech. It was too much glare, and getting the camera gear wet is not like something you want to do. So
yeah, it was like that long.
Massive.
So
huge.
Yeah, it was scary. And you're seeing my niece freak out, but we were listening to her freak out, and she was screaming bloody murder. So that was fun. Brandy just said that they got a fin fun tail.
That's awesome.
Congrats, Brandy. That's exciting. And Christian was saying that it was 23 years ago since Princess Diana died.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember where you were when that happened?
I'm old enough to actually remember that. So yeah, that's crazy.
I was. How old were you in 1997?
I was old, and then you were only like 13.
I was 12 in 1997.
You were the same age as your niece was.
Now.
Right, when we did the video. Yeah, from the weekend.
Yeah, and I was staying with my aunt and uncle and cousins when we woke up and heard about Princess Diana. I remember that. He also says that it's 81 years ago since the German attack on Poland that started World War II.
I've watched a ton of World War II stuff, so I'm huge on. I was actually watching a special on that earlier today. That's a great talk.
Sean really, Christian, you can send Sean all the war facts you want. He finds history very interesting.
I love history and Europe. I've been to Europe a bunch of times, like Germany, and went through Austria and saw some.
I went to
parts.
Germany too, but we didn't know each other yet. I went in 2005 and I stayed in Bavaria, which I loved. And we traveled all around and saw lots of things and volunteered. And I stayed with a house family that didn't speak English and I did not speak German. And
Oliver swam in the Linden. Awesome.
Oh, that's great. Ollie had a chance to swim in the Mermaid Linden fin. That's awesome.
Those things are really solid.
They're fast. Hi, Andrea. Andrea's our fellow Canadian here. So we can answer your questions if you want to leave us questions in the comments. And then otherwise, we're just going to tell you what we've been up to the past couple weeks and just kind of catch you up. Our idea is to try to do these little live streams every 2 weeks. And if they catch on, then that's great. And we'll try to make them look nicer. We'll get it more figured out. And if they catch on, cool. We'll start doing them every 2 weeks. It's more like a way for us to reconnect with you as our fans.
Plus, it'll keep us busy over the winter. I mean, there'll still be lots of things to do indoors, and people have to keep busy somehow. So this is good way to connect.
Hey Terry, everyone. Okay, so we got a great question in here. The infamous spider. That name makes me think of Megamind. Do you remember? It's Will Ferrell's movie, and he's got like an alien head, and it's cartoon, and it's Tina Fey and Will Ferrell, and the spider comes down, and he's like the spider, the infamous spider.
That's an older one.
Yeah, it's like 2010. It's hilarious.
Okay,
that's what that made me think of. So, infamous spider wants to know, what are the qualifications that you have to get to be a professional mermaid? So, in the industry right now, there are no standards. So really, it's whatever you want or nothing. But we do have suggestions for you that are good. If you want to work as a professional mermaid, most self-employed people are required to have standard first aid training, and so you should get that. A lot of merfolk like to get lifeguarding, and it can definitely help you, but it's not necessary if you're going to be somewhere where there's a lifeguard. You should never have to be a mermaid and a lifeguard at the same time, like lifeguarding in the water or lifeguarding in the tail or whatever. Like, you should be one or the other. So you're not necessarily using your lifeguarding skills. The certification that helped me the most was doing freediving, and you don't have to do a big crazy course in the ocean. You can just do level 1 in the pool, and it teaches you everything you need to be safe in the water, and help someone if they're drowning, and hold your breath underwater, like the very basics of mermaid. SSI, do you remember what that stands for? Scuba School International,
something like that. Yeah.
So they are trying to standardize the industry, and they have an actual mermaid course, and so they're called SSI, and you would take them through a dive shop. They've been very hit or miss. It tends to depend on who is putting on the course, but the idea of it is that it's supposed to give you a really solid foundation in mermaiding, in the ocean, in pools, doing lessons, doing parties. It's not perfect, but it is a really good start. And I'm a big fan of mentoring. It's really good to work with. Oh, that's Charlie.
You got a couple of them wondering.
Yeah, it's Charlie right there. It's good to sign up with a mermaid who's established and see if you can job shadow them and help out, be a merwrangler at a gig and get a sense, and maybe volunteer is really good. If you're going to be working with kids, you want some experience with kids too, because kids are a whole other kettle of fish. Yep. So let's see what else we've got in the comments here. Does Sean want to be a merman?
I wore a tail once. I tested it out, and it was amazing. But I think my job is better probably carrying mermaids. I think that's where my thing is. And it's cool. It's totally cool. I had no idea how hard it was. Oh my gosh, I had no idea how hard it was. It's a lot of work.
Brandy says they wish that Corona was gone so that we could have more Mercons. Me too. I wish to. I'd like to host something here in Halifax sometime. I'd like how the California Mermaid Con started out as Sacramento Mermaid Con, or not Mermaid Con, Sacramento Mermaid Weekend, and it was just small. And I liked how they started out small and then it just kind of got bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah.
So
we'll go back when it's open again. They're just being super safe, and I'm so glad they are. It'd be nice to see all our friends again someday.
That's some good questions there. How old were you when you started mermaiding is what Sarah T wants to know. Okay, so Sarah, get ready for your mind to be blown. I did not even learn how to swim until I was 17. I was very sick. I mean, I'm still very sick, but like I was very sick as a child, and I was petrified of putting my head underwater because I got sick so easily, and I didn't want to get like infections and stuff. So I just got fed up and embarrassed, and this is not the way to do it. You should always have someone help you, but I would throw a noodle off the dock and then run and jump off the dock and jump next to the noodle and then doggy paddle to the noodle. And each time I would throw the noodle further and further until I literally taught myself how to do it. And we went on our first date. Was I 22, I think?
I don't know. You were,
12 years ago, so 22.
Like that. Yeah.
I was 22 on my first date with Sean, and we were swimming in a lake, and I was talking because I love to talk. And Sean was not talking.
I'm a good listener.
And he kept swimming and out really deep. And I followed him and I kept talking. And I was running out of breath. And I was getting tired. And I was a really bad swimmer. And I was going like this. And the next thing I knew, Sean was already back at shore. And I was still in the middle of the lake, going underwater, starting to drown and panic because I was not a very good swimmer. Then he had to come get me.
I turned around. She looked like she was having trouble talking, so I went back and got her.
Yep. So I didn't start mermaiding then. It took a while. I've been mermaiding for 12 years. So when I met Sean, we dated for about a year, and then when I was 23, I got my first fabric tail, and I still wasn't like great at swimming in it. It took me years. So I'm 40. I'm 44 now, and I'm pretty sure I got it like the summer just before I turned 23. So I might have been like 22, but like a few months before I was 23. Yeah. And yeah, it wasn't easy. No. It was hard to learn to swim, and my tails kept breaking.
Nobody knew what you were doing, because then no one had done it a lot. So it was weird back then.
Yeah, so there was like not much. So it took a long time for me to break into the industry. We've probably only been super active in the mermaid industry as a whole since like 2012 was when I got my Silicone.
Yep.
And before then I was doing a lot of stuff. Yep. Everything before then was by myself.
Yep.
And 2012 is when we met up with Mimi. Yep. And then we started doing like way more gigs, so that was pretty cool.
It was really picked up.
This is a long answer. Geez, everyone's here tonight. This is great. Hi, folks. Yeah.
It's the daytime for some people, and it's way late in the evening for people in Europe.
My Europeans, yeah. So Daisy says mermaiding is almost only for children. You can't train mermaiding as an adult because fins and monofins are not allowed in swimming pools. What do you think about that? Yeah. It's really frustrating. Actually, there's lots of places where fins and monofins aren't allowed here either. Yep. Our way around that is that we have insurance and we rent the pool. So one of my suggestions to my international friends is to form an actual mermaid group with like-minded individuals at your local pool facility and actually register it as a recreation group. It's a little bit of work and it costs a little bit of money, but if everyone is a member and pays, something like 20 euros a month or something, and it can go to pay for things and get everyone in the pool. And maybe you only have to do that for a year because the pools see you doing that, see that nobody dies, and start letting you do stuff. We really had to fight to be able to swim here too in our pools, and
not all pools let us swim either. Only some do.
Yeah,
so you can't win them all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even us. So I know it can be really difficult. I do have some resources on, I think it's my mermaidreina.com website, Daisy. That's stuff that you can print out and take to pools. It might help you. You might have to translate it if people aren't in English, but it's a starting point at least. Holland. Do we know a mermaid in Holland?
I think so.
Who was at our convention?
There's a couple different ones. And they moved around a little bit.
She spoke English and French and
Yeah,
Dutch.
but I think she moved since then. She's now
Okay.
in Germany. It's tricky. People. That's what's so nice about Europe is that you're so close to everything, and you can hop from one country to the next and enjoy them all. So I want to go back when things are safe again. I want to go back to Europe.
They want to know, what was your reaction when you found out I was a mermaid? Can you even remember?
I think when you were first swimming, I had a migraine.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was sitting in a deck chair, and she had a life jacket on because it was safe, and I'm glad because I wanted to be there to make sure she was safe. But she was splashing around, and I couldn't see. I had a migraine. I felt awful. I was just like, okay, apparently we're here for this today. And it was great. It was fun. She had a good time. So as long as she was happy, I mean, I was happy enough. It wasn't like I was going to feel better. So at least one of us enjoyed it.
Yeah, I felt so bad for you.
Yeah, it was fine. I don't have as many migraines now. So.
He used to get them really
Oh,
bad.
yeah, they were awful.
Yeah. But then it kind of like turned into a job. What did you think about that?
That was fun. Honestly, and if you do anything, it's exhausting. Like if you pour yourself into something, inevitably you're going to get tired because you're trying so hard and you're doing so much stuff. But every time you do something like that, there's always something that recharges you and gets you motivated again. And I swear, every time we get out there and we're doing our thing and we're tired and we're like, oh my gosh, this is so much work. But then you see a little person who freaks out.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all it takes is one little person to come on over, and you can just see this explosion of happiness happen. And then their parents are just overwhelmed with joy because suddenly there's a new passion. And, you know, we had one little one who was in our swim class, and she could not swim. Libby. But then she wanted to be a mermaid, and that she made up her mind. That was it. So she started swimming with us, and she was swimming in just a tiny little bit of water. And she couldn't go up with the rest of the kids, but she was just swam along the side. And so a dozen classes later, she finally got to the stage where she was ready to swim in the deep part. And then she took off. She was just going.
She did it like I did.
Yeah.
She learned it like I did.
And her mom was just amazed. She said, I never thought she would swim. She was just scared of the water. Nothing could do it. But suddenly she wanted to be a mermaid, and she made up her mind, and she did it. And after that, nothing could stop her. She was just amazing.
And we're quite different with our swim school. There's two things that make our swim school different. Like, one is that we do allow non-swimmers. We put them in life jackets because we feel that we can still teach them the appropriate tail etiquette.
Yeah.
And it usually inspires them to take regular swimming lessons because they want to swim so badly.
And you're safe.
And they're safe, yeah. Somebody once criticized me for doing that, and I'm like, you literally don't know what you're talking about.
And it doesn't matter if you can't look at the big picture and be like, well, I don't look as good if I'm wearing a life jacket or if I'm learning. Like, it's not about that. It's about making sure you do it safely so you can get to the point where eventually
where you don't need it.
You don't need it anymore, and you can swim with your friends. But at first, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Being safe is everything. Like, that's the most important part. Because if you're not safe first, you're not going to get to do the rest of it.
We also did our mermaid school in our silicone tails, which, looking back, I did it to make us stand out. But looking back, it was so impractical. I would never do that again. Well, I would have legs.
They also weren't as good. Like, the tails these days are so much better than they were even 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The stuff that people are coming out with now, it's so innovative and it's so amazing and it's evolved. Like, the whole industry is completely different.
I can't wait to see what it's going to be like in another 5 years, but then I'm going to be old.
I don't think it matters. Perfectly honest, I don't care. I could be 100 years old at the side of the pool with my little walker and she'll be splashing around and I'll just be like, yeah, go mermaid.
That's so true. And I hope I can do it that long.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right now with my ice pack, I don't feel all that.
We'll get you a tow rope and we'll just tow you around the pool at that point.
He said they wanted to know if I was a mermaid when you met me. I was not.
No, she became a mermaid. Now there's a bunch of opportunities to be a mermaid, and every time that opportunity came up, she jumped at it because I think there was a whole bunch of different things that we did back then.
Oh, I used to do the most intense gigs just for the sake of like getting out there, and I would be like, I broke my fingers at gigs, I was in pouring rain, I was in freezing cold water so many times. Oh, one time I did a gig with bioluminescent plankton, but nobody else could see it.
The middle of the night, and there were crabs biting her.
And the crab went down my boobs. And I was trying to entertain everybody and get the crab out of my boobs.
And they weren't like little playful cartoon crabs. There's little green crabs, and they're nasty. Like, they'll come after you. If they see something or food or something, they don't care if you're there. They'll walk right over you. I mean, you're in their world. This is how it works. You're in their habitat. So
yeah, and it was cold, and I cried because I got scared because someone's dog started chasing me in the water.
Like, and nobody could see anything.
Oh, it was a terrible gig.
It is what it is.
Do we know many mermen personally, or do we know them most online? We do know some lovely mermen in person. I've posted pictures.
There's more and more every year.
Yeah, we're very good friends with Merman Jax. We are very good friends with Frenchie, Merman Ariane from France.
So nice.
We have our own merman here, David. It's just that he's in Newfoundland right now, taking care of a family member. And we do know a lot online too, but we do know a lot in person. Merman Tommy, we know Eric, the Mer Tailor. Yeah. They don't live here, but we do visit them. And
there's the Merbies in Newfoundland.
The Merbies,
well.
Merbies,
Merbies.
Merbies.
I think it's Merbies because it's Newfoundlandish. Like,
yeah. Lots more comments. So Andrea was asking about my hair, my skin. I'll just give like a little summary on that. When I go get my hair done, I'm basically going to tell my hairdresser to do whatever mermaid hair she wants without cutting it. So I don't know what I'm getting next. Mm-hmm. We're probably going to stick with pink, but maybe add some more. We'll see. Yeah. It's really light on my forehead. But if I go like this, you can see like the dark purple that it's supposed to, like, it started off as like a fuchsia.
It was intense, and now it's a little lighter.
It's very
But
peachy.
We've also been out in the sun, we've been swimming, we've been doing waterfalls, and we've been doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And we're going back out again this weekend for more.
Yeah, so I've got my copper mint tail and my lionfish tail coming tomorrow, and we'll do an unboxing for that on Facebook. It was supposed to be here now so that we could do it during YouTube, so sorry, YouTube. We're going to try to do these every 2 weeks, though. Yeah. So I guess, I'll talk a little bit about the questions, and then maybe we can tell them about some of the mermaid adventures we've had recently. So, sure. So skin and hair. So hair, that's my plan. For washing it, I don't have to worry too much about chlorine right now because of COVID. So that's why I've been dyeing my hair. It's fun because I don't have to deal with the chlorine. Normally, I wouldn't dye my hair when I'm in chlorine because all it does is I go in the pool and then there's a big pile of pink, and then everyone has to swim in that, right? So yeah, I'm just having fun since I'm not in chlorine, but typically I would use a really strong clarifying shampoo to get the chlorine out and get my hair taken care of by a professional every 8 weeks or so. For skincare, I use a line called Eminence, and it's organic. It's from Hungary. It's made out of food, and I love it. It's really good. It's worth every penny. So that's just like a little quick answer on that one. So Nautical Moose in the chat is my friend Terry, who's from Newfoundland, where the Merbies are. There's a documentary, Christian, that you might like.
So good.
If you Google them, it's spelt like merby, like you're saying by instead of mermaid or merman. It's merby. And if you Google that or YouTube it, there's a documentary about them that's really great, about all the mermen. I've shared it, I think, on my pages and stuff too. Yep. We have a question. Would you suggest getting a silicone mertailor tail at some point? Sure. They are really heavy and not like the most practical thing, but they are pretty affordable compared to the other ones.
They're insulating, so they're good for cold water. They're really realistic. There's definitely a time and a place for that type of tail. And if you're doing something quick and easy, it's not as good. But if you're doing something that's a little more detailed, or you want it to look a little more photorealistic, or it's going to be cold, it's really good. Something like that, like you just won't get as cold as quick.
Yeah, but I think it is good to start with the fabrics. He has great fabric line.
Yeah.
They're very realistic looking. They're great to learn in. And honestly, you might just love that. Like, I probably won't buy another silicone tail in my life. I'll keep the ones I have. I might sell some. But
you say that now, but in 5 years, who knows?
Well, I mean, if they became more affordable, like right now, it's like, hey, here's like $5,000 for
Plus,
like
well, the technology's changed so much. It's the first time I remember the first time we got them, we couldn't believe how it was and how heavy it was, and we're thinking, oh wow, this is the future. But then a few years later, we look at it again, and what they're doing now is so innovative. It's amazing, and there's someone else coming up with something crazy new every year.
Hi,
So
I'm just gonna say hi to Brianna. I see that she joined too. Yeah, it's like a buy, Andrea, like a buy. Girls and buys, you know.
yeah, because exactly. It's the evolution of the word. My mom is a Newfie. She moved here just before Newfoundland joined Confederation, so technically I'm first generation Canadian.
Oh my god.
Which is crazy. Anyways, they lived there for 300 years in Newfoundland, my mom's side, and they all know each other, and they're the best storytellers, and she had 10 brothers and sisters just like every other family. Anyways, yeah, Newfoundland is just it's like a whole other place full of storytellers, and they have their own language, and they do all their own things, and they are some of the nicest people you can meet in the world. They're absolutely amazing.
Do you have a favorite mermaid show or movie? What movie do I make you watch every time we go on an airplane, Sean? Put it on my tablet.
We might have Splash on a tablet.
I might have a signed copy.
Yeah,
too.
We might actually have a signed copy at the California Mermaid Convention a couple years ago, and then we met with the guy who signed it and had lunch with him, which is awesome.
Robert Short. Someday
yeah.
I'm going to interview him for our channel.
Yeah, honestly, he wanted us to interview him on our VR system, which I'm still kind of intrigued about. Maybe someday we can pull that off.
Yeah.
But I think the technology's still evolving, and it'll be somewhere else probably in another year. Who knows? Apple's supposed to come out with AR glasses and a bunch of other cool things. So who knows? Maybe we'll all be chatting in VR in like 2 years.
Yeah, I love Splash. I saw someone mention Aquamarine. I made Sean watch Aquamarine.
I've seen it all. There's a few movies I haven't seen, and I'll catch up on those. But for the most part, I've pretty much seen it all.
I'm okay with She Creature. I like how the creature looks, but I think it's a really bad movie. And
it's cheesy. It's just a little cheesy.
We watched it with the Patreons, and it was really funny.
Yeah.
I really liked the TV show Siren. I'm very sad that it's canceled because it was so good.
I don't know what's going to take its place.
Oh, Courtney's here too. Hi, Court. Yeah, I really loved that. And yeah, I also really loved this mermaid manga called Mermaid Forest and Mermaid Scar, and they were also turned into OVAs, and so you can actually watch them both on YouTube. It's by the same person who made Ranma, and yeah, I loved it. It was one of my favorite mangas growing up, and kind of really heavily influenced me. But yeah, I love Siren and all that stuff. I mean, if there's mermaids, I'll watch it. I couldn't get into H2O. I tried. I really loved the costumes, but it was definitely that preteen market.
Yeah, for some reason I couldn't watch it either. It's a great show, but it doesn't appeal to, say, my demographic.
It's very Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Oh, I liked Tidelands.
Yeah,
on Netflix. The
super innovative.
Murderous, sex-having, drug-dealing mermaids, and you
Complete different spin on it. It was really cool.
And like they're all halflings, and they're waiting for like the mother mermaid to come back. And it was like True Blood. It made me think of True Blood.
It was like they mixed True Blood with, and took the sort of different spin on it. Yeah.
But I think it got canceled.
I think they all get canceled. I don't know if any of them last more than 2 years. There's been a bunch of shows on Netflix, and I swear they have a formula where they just draw people in and then they cancel it 2 or 3 seasons later. It doesn't matter what it is.
So frustrating.
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen. I don't know how to pronounce it in Chinese, but I have seen the Stephen Chow movie, and it is hysterical. It reminds me of Austin Powers, it's like that kind of humor, except it's a mermaid, and she walks on her fins. Like, she doesn't actually have legs. Like, she slams her fins into boots, and it's like watching an anime. That one was hysterical. But I guess the guy who made it is a famous comedian.
Right.
Stephen Chow is a famous comedian. Yeah, there's also I think it's a Korean one that I watched like a really long time ago called Mermaid Got Married or something. Like, I'd have to look it up again. But yeah, I do. I love that one. It was really funny. Daisy was saying that she plays the flute. I play the flute, Daisy. I don't have one right now, but I've really wanted to get a glass flute. Yeah. I put the ukulele away.
I didn't want to sit on it.
Yeah, I would like to buy a glass flute and take it to like performances as the mermaid and play it. And because it's glass, I thought it would be cool to take it underwater for some pictures and stuff. Do you know what music I think sounds very mermaidy? And there's lots of sheet music available for it on the internet. It's all the Final Fantasy songs. Like, you play those on a flute or pick them on a guitar or just a piano or a harp. They sound really pretty on a harp. Janessa is a mermaid from California who plays the harp. She's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love it. The harp is so pretty. My friend Kayuse plays the harp, and yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think that would be cool. Like, do something like that. I have such a pumpkin head compared to Sean. Like,
I sit farther back to make it look bigger.
So
I do it on purpose.
Back. Look, if I come all the way back here, I look like I have regular proportions. It's like such a wide
my head's
angle
still not
lens.
bigger than yours.
It's like a huge wide angle lens. Okay, we've got more questions. I saw somebody mention that they're transgender in the YouTube chat, and I just wanted to mention that there is a trans safe space on Facebook for merfolk. It's called Queer Merfolk, and I'm in it just as a silent learner, like learning from people. But it's queer merfolk, trans merfolk, all kinds of people. And it's a really good group to join because they talk about a lot of applicable things for transitioning and wanting to present as that gender in the pool as well, and not having to feel like you have to go back to your dead gender or dead name kind of thing. So
inclusive. Yeah.
It's very inclusive. I'm learning a lot, and I think anyone who's trans should totally join it. There's also some really good threads on Mer Network for trans merfolk. And we were friends for years with Jazz, who is a very famous transgender advocate.
For a while.
She did, and I spoke with Jazz's mom when Jazz was a child, like very young,
really little.
And I sent her.
We wanted to meet up with them, but it just wasn't in the cards.
Didn't work out. But I sent them copies of my books when I first printed my books, and Jazz has my books, and I have one of Jazz's books, and I sent them Mer Taylor's. He did Divas of the Queens of the Deep or something. It was drag queens as mermaids for a calendar, and we sent that to Jazz too. And her mom was really sweet, but also very guarded because
they have to be so careful.
People love to
people
be
online
awful.
Can be just absolutely awful, so we all have to be so careful.
So that's why it's good to join a place like Mer Network or this Facebook groups that you can network with other people, because I know that it can be very lonely. So Chrono Cross for mermaid music is great. Yes, I love Radical Dreamers, and I learned to play it on guitar and sing it in Japanese, but my Japanese friends tell me I have a funny Canadian accent when I sing it.
You do. I tell her that all the time.
What
a funny Canadian accent.
What tips do you have for swimming in a silicone tail? Silicone tails can be really floaty and heavy. They're heavy on land, and then when you get them in the water, they can be very floaty. If they have a solid fluke, they tend to sink a little more. But if the fluke is not solid and it has a monofin inside of it, I find air gets trapped and they tend to float. Not for everybody. If you're someone who sinks very easily, you probably will still sink in a silicone tail, but I actually find silicones make me quite floaty. They're not heavy in the water like you would think, and it's actually more of a challenge to swim in shallow water because, especially in a pool, the silicone tails will suction to the bottom of the pool. So it's good when you're practicing to actually get out a little bit deeper, I find. You wore one once.
I tried one on. I did,
Just
and
once.
I totally underestimated how much energy it takes to swim in a silicone tail. And hey, any monofin is going to exert energy, and you can swim really fast, like the new Linden one, like we talked about earlier. That thing is a powerhouse. When you kick in it, you go. You really go. But as you have more and more weight on you, sure, it's streamlined because you're wearing a silicone tail and everything there, but it's heavy. And not just that, most people aren't used to swimming with their feet together. You're better off starting with just like a fin or some fabric. Start small, because if you jump right to a silicone tail, it is intense. And unless you're someplace where there's, shallow water or whatever, you got to make sure you're safe. Make sure you're swimming with somebody else too the first time you're in there.
Endometriosis sucks. I just have like this pain right here, just like this line. It's like there's like a little invisible alien and he's just like chipping away at me like a rock, like right in there. It's so frustrating. I have it like on my sternum, so it makes it hard to breathe. Ollie was asking for tips for modeling and posing underwater. So I'll share some that we learned on our trip with Brett Stanley, because I use these tips and tricks constantly.
We're going to use them more. I'm getting better and better. We're getting another lens for our underwater camera. So I'm getting better at taking the shots, and the mermaids and mermen are constantly getting better at, modeling and just posing and everything.
Yeah, so there's a huge difference between modeling in freshwater versus saltwater versus a pool. Like in a pool, you can control pretty much everything around you. Your only issue is going to be the chlorine burning you. As a model, you can see fairly well, and you don't have to worry too much about your buoyancy, because if you let your air out to go down, you know that you're just in a pool and you can like do it against a wall and just pull yourself up. Yeah. So I am the kind of person who sinks, and I either have to wear a weight belt and hide it under my clothes or my tail, or I have to let my air out. And I actually get better photos if I let my air out instead of using a weight belt. So I would let my air out and pose as I sunk, whereas before I would swim to the bottom and I'd be floating up the entire time, and I'd be trying to pose as I was floating up. And as I was like doing that, I would have less opportunity for good poses when I was floating up versus when I went down. So I let my air out, and I let it out before I go under, so that I'm sinking as I go under. But sometimes you have to push a little more to propel yourself. Ollie, you don't have to deal with this, but us long-haired folk, your hair is always going to go in the opposite direction as you. So if I'm coming this way, my hair is going this way. And if I'm swimming, but then I stop, guess what my hair is going to do? Hello. Yeah. So part of the posing is trying to keep your head neutral so that your hair isn't going wild, and just very little taps is enough to like get the movement in it. And one of the best tips I ever got was from Christy Jessica. She said this in the video where we interviewed her, is that if you have to fix your hair, do it, but make it fashion, right? Like Tyra Banks says. So, okay, Raina's trying to get, I'm in this great pose, but I look like Cousin It, and I'm going to fix my hair, but make it fashion. Okay.
And I'm just taking nonstop photos when it happens. Like, oh, that worked out.
Yeah. The other thing is like you want to have your knife edge of your hand to the camera as opposed to spider fingers. Anything like this is going to look bigger because they tend to use wide angle lenses, and the closer it is, the bigger it's going to look. It takes over the page. So
spider hands.
The only thing that doesn't apply to you is the fluke of the tail, because the fluke of the tail actually looks really good if it's big. So if the fluke is in front of the camera and up close like that, that's fine.
But it's a great background, but it's also really nice in the frame, just anywhere.
You don't want your hands. So, like we're trying to pose and we're paddling, and I'm the worst for this. Like half my photos, my hands are like this underwater. But it is really graceful and beautiful if you can just soften the hands, male, female, non-binary, whatever. Like it all looks really good when you just
hold it in such a way where it's not like aggressive or pointing at something or anything like that, but just like loose.
Just loose. Like even you can even shake them a little bit underwater.
Because no matter where you take a shot from a loose hand like that, it's going to at least look natural. Whereas you've got things like this, it's going to seem dramatic and out of place. I mean, like unless you're looking for a jazz hand look.
Jazz hand.
Because that's always fun. So.
Also, you don't have to have your eyes open for the picture. It's really like if you look at photos where my eyes are open, the camera's so close that my pupils are dilated, and then you can see the red and like the white of my eyes. It look like a stoner. Like
you can fix that in post.
Yeah, you don't need to have your eyes open. it's totally fine to keep them closed. So, you know, like I'm coming into my pose, I've got my eyes closed. It's very serene. It's very beautiful. I flip my hair, but I make it fashion. Keep the knife edge of my hand out. It's a lot to remember, but you practice.
Meanwhile, I'm floating upside down, sideways, holding onto a rock. Like, I don't know if I got it, but sometimes we do.
How do you keep the water from your nose or throat, or do you just get over it? It's a little of both for me. Every person is different. I said this before in a video, but Medusa Serena was talking about how it's like being punched in the arm, but if you get punched in the arm every day, eventually you expect to be punched in the arm and it doesn't bother you so much. So yeah, keeping my eyes open, chlorine will definitely bother it. I try to wear goggles when I'm practicing, and I only take them off if I'm getting specific video or pictures.
Plus it keeps your eyes getting overwhelmed.
Yeah, I wear earplugs, and there's 2 types of earplugs. So if I'm not diving I can hit about 3 meters safely with earplugs in without hurting your ears. You can still kind of equalize with earplugs. You will get water if they come out too far. But I get really bad ear infections, so I do wear earplugs. I'm already hard of hearing, so I have to protect my ears. But then I bought these other earplugs for my freediving course because they were the only FDA-approved earplugs for using scuba diving, and I did a video about them. They're called like the best earplugs for mermaids.
They adjust.
Yeah, and they're called Docs Pro plugs, and they go in and they have a ventilation tube. So water does get in, but it's very, very, very slow and controlled, and you don't really feel it, and it's not like flushing into your station tubes, which makes it hard for you to equalize, right? In our freediving course, we learned that you should start equalizing right away, and that'll help with your nose and your ears. So when you're freediving, you don't have to worry about water up your nose, but when you're swimming as a mermaid, you do. I do find that if you start equalizing right away, it creates a bit of a block so that the water won't go up your nose as easy. So let's say you're swimming and you're going down, you're doing like a little duck dive, and you're going to flip your tail. As soon as you go, your head goes underwater, grab your nose and just start slowly pumping that air through.
Yeah.
Like that, slowly.
Takes
like
work.
don't do
you
aggressive.
Don't want to pop your ears or anything.
But keep doing it, just little bits, just little puffs, until you get to the depth that you want to be at, and your ears should be equalized, and actually it should create a seal to keep things from going up your nose. That being said, when you're going to do a backflip, the only way you're not going to get water up your nose is if you exhale while you're doing the backflip, and that takes a lot of practice too. It looks really nice if you can get it down. I did it a lot when I was in the Florida Springs because the water didn't burn or bother me at all if it got in my nose. It's like drinking water, so it doesn't hurt if it goes in your nose. Yep. So I would practice that, and I would do that swim up, and then I would go back and I'd blow it out my nose as I went, and it actually made like this beautiful spiral of bubbles while I did the flip. So it can actually be really beautiful, but you have to really practice it, and it's no fun if it actually does get up there. I've definitely had moments where I'm trying to be this beautiful, graceful mermaid, and I come up, and then all the water goes down my throat, and I'm a drowning mermaid.
So she's coughing. It's like, all right, look away for a second.
Yeah, I've done tank shows before where weird stuff like that has happened. Like you think you've got a good seal, and then it goes up and down your throat, and I'd be like, "Hi, children!"
Or after you get out, and suddenly you're standing, and all the water comes out of your face, and it's like, what's going on?
Yeah, we've been to restaurants before, and I like lean over. Oh no!
It
comes out. I do find that if I use a sinus rinse system on the regularly, it kind of desensitizes your nose to that sensation, and then you don't get like the I just got punched in the eyeballs feeling. So, but yeah, it is just a sucky thing. Like it's kind of everyone's a little bit different over what's gonna work for them or not. So you just gotta give it a shot and try. Do I know any good freediving courses in Nova Scotia? Yep. I helped found the Halifax Freediving Club, and they offer freediving courses, and you can take them here in Nova Scotia. And they can also put you in touch with other groups that do it too.
Yeah, they didn't have it years ago, but they finally established it here, which is great.
Yeah. Out of all the monofins you've used over the years, which ones are your favorite to use and why? The Fantasy 2 Monofin by Mer Taylor, and I always accidentally call it the Final Fantasy. The Final Fantasy fin.
Bye, Daisy.
Bye, Daisy.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I gotta go. I'm sure this will be online later.
It'll
you
be
can watch
online
the rest
later.
Of it. You won't miss anything.
Yeah. So the Fantasy 2 is my favorite, and I think it's just a matter of I've tried so many. Everyone's got their personal favorite, but it was the first time my feet were actually comfortable in a monofin. I have pretty big size 9 flippers, and that's pretty big for a woman of my size. It wouldn't be big if I was like 6 feet, but but being under 6 feet, I have big feet. And they're just so comfortable, and I love the power, the
feet
flexibility.
Feet. Everyone's got different size feet. You just need to find something that works for you.
Do you remember those kids' books that were like the mermaids don't run track, and it was like their gym teacher, and she had big feet, and it was like vampires don't play badminton or something. Like it was a no, okay, I was like a 90s kid thing.
I think I remember it, but I didn't vaguely.
My belly.
Yeah.
Okay, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, I love the Final Fantasy 2 Monofin. The competitor Monofin.
The Final Fantasy Monofin?
Yes.
You always call it the Final Fantasy
Yes,
fin.
it is the Final Fantasy.
I think even in our video that we made reviewing all the fins, you kept calling it the Final Fantasy fin, and I actually put that in font multiple times. The Final, not Final Fantasy.
That's funny. Slim was saying that he wears his glasses, and so does Mermaid Mimi now.
Yeah.
She really liked that Nerd Maid Faith wore her glasses.
Yeah.
And so she decided...
There's more and more people out there wearing glasses.
You know, it's so awesome that Faith did that, because as soon as Faith did it and made a video about it and was just like, I'm just going to do this, I don't care, it empowered so
more
many other people.
Totally. Yeah.
So Mermaid Mimi has like her own set of mermaid glasses.
She just wears them in like the ocean and stuff. She's probably out there right now. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
They spent every day they can out on the ocean, and it's amazing.
They took us out on their boat quite a few times.
Yeah, I'll be making a video of her and her boat and our adventures. And
we're going to do something nice for them as a thank you. Like, I've been buying little gifts here and there that we're going to give her, and then her husband, we're going to get him some video games. Video games.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. Any other questions? We probably only chat for like another 15 minutes, if that, like 10 or 15. You guys are super troopers. I
can't believe it's been 45 minutes already.
Girls, guys, people, folk.
I feel like we just sat down.
Yeah, I really enjoy doing stuff like this. It's the videos are fun, but they're like a tremendous amount of work.
I have easily 20 more videos. Like, we've got a whole pre-quarantine video set that we haven't even done yet, and some of those videos are massive. Like, they're going to be 30 minutes long by the time I'm done, and it probably takes me about 10 hours to do probably a 10-minute video. So it's probably about there, because by the time I'm editing, cutting, going back to the drawing board, whatever, it takes a long time to do that. So multiply that by easily 20, maybe 25. We've got an entire summer's worth of video to go into the fall. And then we're going to be getting more. Like, we're doing an adventure on Thursday, and then another one on Saturday, maybe another one on Sunday. Who knows? But we're just stockpiling. Oh yeah,
we're going to the sunflowers on Saturday.
Yep, we're going to do and I'm bringing the drone out. Hopefully, it won't be too windy. We've had so much fun with the drone this year. Oh my gosh, I swear by this thing right now.
Tell them about the first drone.
Well, we had one drone, and the best part about that drone is that I had a nice little warranty on it where I could replace it twice a year. Because the first time I got it was great, but the second time we got it, it lost the GPS signal, and I'm like, okay, don't fly into a tree, don't fly into a tree, whoop, into a tree, and then whoop, into the lake. And honestly, it actually still flies, but the gimbal on it is seized, so it won't even change position anymore. So it just goes back to the company, and I have a second one, so I'm using that one now. And so when the second one breaks, hopefully the first one will be back in time, and I can just use that one. So we'll just keep them on rotation, and we're following all the laws and guidelines, and we're doing all these cool things. But what a difference a drone makes when it comes to getting a shot. Like, I can only stand so high above the mermaids when I'm getting these shots. But with a drone, you can get these crazy ones from 100 feet up, and then you can come right down, and just basically everyone can sit there, and they're just so pretty, and it's amazing. I just wish I had more hands so I could fly a drone, use a DSLR, get a gimbal, set up a couple more cameras.
You should see his obnoxious setup. Courtney saw it at the Mermaid Convention.
He's
got like this whole rig.
I never even used all my footage from the California Convention last year. I used maybe half of it. I've got so much more where that came from, and we actually had a bunch of it set for promos for the California Convention this year, but we couldn't use it because it was all done online now, which is great. But next time we go, I'll even have more gear. We'll get more stuff. We'll have better underwater camera, and we'll get more lighting. So. Yeah.
I wish we could have learned this stuff earlier, but we couldn't afford it.
But it also didn't exist. A lot of this stuff only existed, and the cost has come down on everything. Like you can buy a GoPro now for $300.
No, our first GoPro was over $1,000.
Yeah, it was $1,000, and it was expensive. We got good shots of it, but no stabilization. The lighting on it was like off. The software's gotten a lot better.
It didn't even have. We had to buy a touchscreen.
Yeah, we had to actually buy a touchscreen,
and it had to go in a housing.
And you couldn't even use the touchscreen in the water because the housing was plastic to cover up the touchscreen, and they had one little area thing that you could use to use the touchscreen in the water, but it like stopped working after a meter.
And before we had the GoPro, I used to buy these little Sony Cyber Shots that were underwater cameras. Yeah. They were just like the old digital cameras, but it was still got waterproof.
Them, but they both stopped working.
Oh my gosh, Mimi has one. We're giving Mimi one of our old GoPros.
She's broken two of her cameras now. They keep flooding every time she takes them into the ocean.
She saw a lobster yesterday. So this is how the Halifax Mermaid group chats go, okay? It's like, ping, oh, hey guys, I'm getting my tail from Candy next week. Ping, oh, that's really cool. I'm working on my lesson plan for school. Ping, lobster. It's like Mimi. Like, just like totally normal conversation.
What fish did she see the other day? It was the little poisonous one?
A sculpin.
Sculpin. We're hanging out chatting there, and all of a sudden she's like, hey guys, I found a sculpin. We're like, what? And she's like, yeah, it's right here. I'm just going to take a picture. And you can't touch it, you can't go anywhere near it, but they're the coolest little creatures, and usually they're a lot further out.
I touched one, and in my defense, I'd had a drink from. You're not supposed to. I was like, a sculpin, and they were like, don't touch it. And I was
no.
She's so funny, but that's literally how she talks and everything. Like when we open up a video from awesome. Mimi, it's like, oh,
but it's always an adventure. Like they're off finding some other animal. The blue nose, which is on our dime here in Canada, they were just boating around, and all of a sudden the blue nose showed up and sailed right by. I think they were by Peggy's Cove.
So then I get a video of Mimi in the chat going, we're the Halifax Mermaids, this is the blue nose. She's literally the nicest human being and mermaid I've ever known.
I wish I was there to get
in
footage
my life.
Of that. Like she's just adorable, and they're amazing, and they're out there because they have a mooring company, so they're constantly putting down moorings for other people's boats. So they're always out there, like having fun out in the ocean. It's just beautiful. And there's so much to see and do. They're so lucky.
We have a question. How do we store the silicone monofins? I'm having trouble figuring out how to store mine. I wish I had could tell you that I actually store mine. I don't.
We have a table.
You can kind of see that there's a disastrous room. That's the doorway to it. Right, the mermaid cave is literally just mermaid crap piled from the.
But we're gonna reorganize it this fall. We're actually gonna reorganize it into another room.
Yeah. So maybe I'll have an answer for you. I'm thinking I'm going to do some kind of shelving or something. I don't know. For my non-silicone monofins, like my plasticky ones, my finis ones and stuff, or actually it's finis, but I call them finis because finis makes no sense.
French.
Finis. Fin. Anyway, you can hang those ones up. Like they even have like a little piece on them for hanging up. So.
Bye, Andrea.
Oh, bye, Andrea. Thank you. Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm trying to, Morgana, I'm trying to come up with some good ideas for people. So
yeah, for travel or for transporting them, we put them in different bags because we've got a bunch of different bags.
Yeah, tail bags are good.
They're great because anytime you do get it stuck on something, or you're trying to close the trunk, the tail bag is going to take anything that it sort of gets caught or whatever.
Yeah, Mertailor has 3 different tail bags, and I'm going to do reviews on them.
Yeah.
Waterways Fins also makes tail bags.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people store their tails under their bed if they have a storage under their bed or space under their bed.
I think there's an IKEA bin that's massive that you can put them in.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a bunch of people that are using different things, and the last thing you want to do is fold it or bend it. So you just got to find your own solution for whatever size you got.
I know. I'm sorry. I wish I had a clear answer for you, but we live in a crappy tiny apartment, and it's an entire room is dedicated. That should be a dining room.
It's all mermaid tails and cats. I'm sure one of the cats is sleeping on the tails right now.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's all mermaid tails. There's like some pinned on the wall there. Like,
yeah, this one on the ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah, old Taylor kid one. Yeah. So, yeah, I know it's a rough one. So, just any last questions before we wrap up? These are fun. We're gonna be doing more in the future. Christian wants to know would I like it if they came across real mermaids? I don't know if I'd like it. I'd be scared that they would just.
I'd wonder if they'd be scared of us. Yeah.
Hi, Captain Scully. Our pirate. Look, we've got a pirate. He's gonna pirate our live stream.
Yeah.
Yarr.
We don't mind.
In the chat, Rob Hood is a friend of ours, Pirate Scully. He's we work gigs with him. He's great.
We did a pirate festival this time last year.
I know. Yeah. So I hired this gentleman to be a pirate at the Mermaid Tank show to help keep people in line, quite literally, because these people would just butt in front of lines.
They're crazy.
So we had this script, and God love him, Scully was great and hilarious. And every time a person would try to cut the line, he'd have his pirate voice, and he'd be like, "Oh no, you gotta go to the back." And I was like, "Yes, we love it. Thank you."
We loved it.
Yeah, we loved it, and we love working with the pirates. There's so much fun.
We should make another shirt with the pirates in the background.
Oh my God, we should get them, because one of the pirates is a very good artist.
Yeah.
And if he could draw them, I could put it on a shirt for them, and then the Maritime Pirate Alliance could have them as characters.
I could wear that too, and I could promote them when we were doing our gigs.
Oh, I like that idea. And we're gonna try to do some photos with the pirates soon too.
Yeah.
We're just kind of waiting for things to calm down.
Yeah.
But everyone go to the beach maybe and get some.
Well, it's still nice. We have beautiful falls here, and the leaves are about to change color too, so it would make for some nice photos.
Mm. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm doing this entire thing with an ice pack. My voice is a little bit raspy because I used vaporized CBD in order to help control my pain, and it's not something I like to do often, but I do when I'm desperate because it helps the pain a lot. But I didn't want to be using a vaporizer on camera just in case some kids check in or something. Mm-hmm. Even though it's legal and medical, So I just been sitting here the whole time my sternum. This endometriosis is so frustrating. I can't have anything. Even this loose dress is if it sits there too long, it hurts. So I'm getting through, but having endometriosis really sucks. Any other questions? Yeah, we have lots coming up. Lots of videos we're working on. I'll be doing a live stream unboxing tomorrow in my Facebook group.
I think I'll film that too, but
you can film it with the phone and stuff. Yeah.
I might get the other camera. I'd like to have that documented because it's always good.
Yeah. That's what we usually do. We live stream it in Facebook and then we put it on YouTube.
There should be a bunch of cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get my hair done on Friday. We're going to see the sunflowers on Saturday. My favorite are sunflowers.
We might go on Adventure Thursday, maybe Saturday, and then we'll see what you feel like on Sunday.
Christian asks if I'm the oldest of my siblings. I am. I have 3 younger sisters, and my youngest sister, her, is Mermaid Emma, who's in my videos. She's 12 years younger than I am.
Almost all of them have been mermaids now.
Yeah. Shawnee is in the middle.
Yeah, I'm in the middle. Yeah.
You got an older brother and 2 younger sisters.
Yep.
One of his sisters is a firefighter in California right now.
She's fighting fires actively or training to still do that. They need as much help as they can get out there in California.
Yeah, because it's so bad. Last call for questions. We got 2 minutes. You guys and girls and folks are awesome.
Oh, good.
I have not tried the Fantasy 4 yet. I have one coming to me shortly. I'm not sure if it's going to come tomorrow with my tails or not because the package said it was only 6 pounds.
Shipping to Canada has been tricky too because everything is so slow right now. So we'll see when it actually arrives. We have to wait. Yeah.
I'll be doing a review video, comparison video. We'll get Sean to take video of all 4 fins. Also, I have 2 Fantasy 2 fins, and one of them is damaged, so we're gonna do video of how to repair them as well. Because Raina got really busy and never fixed it, and so it got worse. So then I have to fix it. I actually asked Candy to surprise me. I couldn't choose a color. I have a really hard time choosing things things in
She's
general.
also really good with surprises. Like,
so
I love it whenever she does something. She always does like
cat hair in my
awesome.
nose. Yeah, so I asked Candy to surprise me, so she's gonna send me whatever she decides is the right color. I think she even wrote it on the slip, like, surprise me. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, thanks for joining us for Mermaid Monday. As we continue to do this show a little more, my idea and my hope is to talk about current things in the mermaid community and industry. So if there's stuff in the news or movies or TV shows, we can talk about it. Any kind of big going-ons in the communities like conventions or online workshops, so we can talk about it. And we'll just keep sharing anecdotes with you. It's not our polished normal thing, but it's just a fun way to kind of reconnect with people. I may not have like millions of followers, but my followers are quite dedicated. So I'm very thankful to you all for all your support. So
sometimes I forget, like, we put a lot of our stuff online, and then we bump into people out in the, in the wild, and they know who we are, and we have no idea who they are because they've seen us do our things.
It's so funny.
And it's just it's funny because I totally forget that sometimes we put ourselves out there. I'm just wondering, like, how do you know me? I don't talk to anybody.
Like, I'll tell a couple stories real quick. So Deliska, who we call Lisky, who started working for us.
She's awesome.
We met her years ago because her mother chased us down at the theater.
Movie theater.
At the movie theater. It was like, Raina,
we were going into the theater and they were coming out and they stopped us and they were just chatting like a whole bunch, like they knew us for ages. And I'm thinking, I don't know who you are. But they're the most wonderful people. They're amazing.
One time we were at Eastside Mario's, which is a Canadian pasta place, and I was really grumpy, and we were talking at the table, and then we heard all these giggles, and we looked down, and there were these little boys, and they were like, "Where's your tail?"
I know, and it's usually little girls, so it was little boys this time, and we're like, wow, we're reaching a new demographic. I didn't know that. But it was really cool.
And after we got married, because all we did was paperwork, and then we wrote about it online, this old lady came up to me at the grocery store when I was at the self-checkout, and she was like, "Congratulations." And I was like in my pajamas, and I was like, "Thank you. Thank you."
I think we're buying chocolate bars or something. Like, weird.
No, I was buying like full on like tampons or something. Like, I was just like, "Thanks, thank you." And then there was a one time I was at Ardene's, which is the Canadian clothing branch. And again, I was dressed like terribly, and this lady was like mirroring me. So like when I was like walking out, she was walking out, and then I looked at her, and she was like, "Are you the mermaid?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have legs though today." So it's funny, but yeah, it's really fun. My shaky rock is good. I keep it by my bed. That's what Captain Scully calls my my dazzling pendant.
Yeah,
shaky
I remember
rock.
that. We made a video.
To the left, shaky to the right.
I so wanted to make another pirate video this year. It was so much fun last year. I had so many ideas for this year. So maybe next year we'll see how things go. I mean, one way or another, we'll hang out. We'll find a safe way to hang out and do our thing again.
And these videos will be saved to YouTube. We're going to post it right now when we finish, and it usually takes a little bit to render. So if you try to go back and watch it from the start, it might look blocky until it finishes rendering. But I can't believe so many of you stayed with us for an hour. This is nuts. Yeah. So we have lots of fun stuff we're going to talk about again in another 2 weeks, and we hope to see you then. And don't forget, you can join Patreon. And one of the things I like that we do in the winter for Patreon is I buy licenses so that I can hold like group movie viewings.
Yeah.
So we just get you on Discord and we watch a movie together.
We all just comment the entire time.
And we have running commentary in text while we watch it, and it's
so if it's cheesy, we're all ripping on it. If it's like sappy, we're all like, oh my gosh, this part.
It's so fun, yeah. So, it has to be done a certain way so that it's legal, and I got to pay a fee and whatever, but it's fun, and we vote on the movies, and that's good, and so check us out, and thank you so much, guys. We miss you all who we haven't seen in person in a long time, and thanks again to everybody for tuning in. Mm-hmm. Thanks. Boy, best wishes.
Side hands.
Oh, side hands.
Yeah. Not spider hands.
Knife hands.